Guys, welcome to the first ever episode of the Lead from the Front podcast with me, Isaac Lewis. If you're listening to this, then there's a good chance that you are an ambitious individual who wants to build a body you're proud of, build a character and mindset that is just an asset to your life, and ultimately live a life on your terms that allows you to feel truly fulfilled. Now, the goal of this podcast, this is the first ever episode, so I'm very aware that things aren't perfect, things are not ready, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about why I'm starting it, the goal of the podcast, and everything like that, as well as my backstory. So the main goal of this podcast is to give you the tools, the skills, the strategies, the wisdom, and the thinking skills on how to perform, think, and live like a leader and someone in control of their life. Okay. I want to give a little bit of background on me now because this is the first ever episode, and part of the goal of this podcast is for me to expand my audience, help more people, and hopefully, at some point, there's going to be people listening to this who don't have a clue who I am. So I'm going to give you a bit of background around what I do now, as well as my backstory. That's the goal of this first episode, for you to actually get to know me and actually why am I someone worth listening to. So a little bit of background on me. I have a very small audience as well, and this is why I do want to grow it. I've only got about just over 1,000 followers on like Instagram and Facebook, so it's a relatively small audience. And I've actually put off doing this podcast for a very long time. I've wanted to do it, but I have really tried to, with the help of my own mentors and coaches, I have really tried to prioritize what I'm focusing on and do fewer things very, very well over the past few years. And I've put this podcast off for a long time, not through actually not feeling ready to do it, not through waiting until everything's perfect. Absolutely not. I'm a big believer in imperfect action. Something that I help individuals with and help clients with is do things even when you don't feel completely ready. So that's why I've actually put it off. But I want to explain a little bit around what I do now and why I've actually put it off for a while. So what I do now, I run the Lead from the Front program. Now, the Lead from the Front program helps individuals build a body that they're proud of, build a character and mindset that is an asset to their life, and ultimately live a life on their terms that really fulfills them. That is the goal of what I help people do, okay? And think of it as kind of an all-round online, physical, personal, and professional development program. And it encompasses a lot of things, and I'll go into the story as to how it's developed into what it is today. But to give you an example of the type of things that I help people with, I just want to kind of outline some of the results, some of the incredible results that individuals have achieved whilst working with myself and the team inside Lead from the Front. So some of the results include things like this: people losing 5 stone and maintaining that for long term, people running their first marathon, people have gained 5 kilos of muscle within a very short space of time, over 6 months. People have squatted and deadlifted well over 200 kilos. People have gone from, so those are some of the more physical wins, but the wins that I'm about to share now also go into around people's physical and professional lives as well. I've had individuals, an individual who's incredible, she's still with me now, who's gone from being completely scared to leave the house, okay, due to bad past experiences, PTSD. I'm obviously not going to go into exactly what it is. And they've gone from that, literally being scared to leave the house, to, first of all, having the courage to reach out to myself, to now starting their own business, okay, continuing to run their own business on their terms in a way that allows them to live a life that they really want. They've competed in CrossFit competitions. They've healed their relationship with food. They've gone from excessive weighing themselves multiple times a day, up to 10 times a day, to not weighing for weeks on end, okay, and leaning into personal challenges. That's just one example. But I've got a load more that I want to share with you because I feel that just gives a much better insight into what I help individuals do. I've helped people come off anxiety and medication and antidepressants because they feel so empowered and so in control of their thoughts and their life and managing their energy as well. They feel capable of doing it without medication. I've got clients with bipolar become stable, okay, perform at high levels consistently rather than the massive highs and lows that obviously comes with that condition. I've had people managing their lives so that they have time for their families, so they have time for their health, their friends, and what actually fulfills them, like in hobbies and everything like that they really, really enjoy. I've had people grow their own business, start their own business that they've been putting off for a long time. I've helped other coaches become leaders and role models to their clients. And the ultimate success metric of what I aim to do with people is for them to say the words, "You have changed my life." Okay, that is the success metric that I'm looking for. And hopefully those results that is just a handful. That list is not exhaustive, but I suppose the common theme with the results that my clients get is it encompasses their life as a whole. I am very, and I'll explain more about this later on in this episode, but I'm very much about being successful across all areas, not being uber successful at one at the expense of the others. So I don't really care and I don't want to help people get in incredible shape if that is at the detriment of their personal and professional life. I don't want people to be uber successful in their career at the expense of their health. And that's the really important common factor and common denominator as to what I do. And we very much look at the big picture inside Lead from the Front. We look at someone's whole life and we think, how can you thrive across all areas? That is a really, really important to me and everyone that I work with. So I just want to explain a little bit around something else that I do. So that is my main thing. The whole program, I work with people, it's probably 95% delivered online. And then every kind of 3 or 4 months, I actually run in-person events. We've had things from climbing mountains. We've had award evenings here at my house in the garden in the summer. We've had seminars. We've had training sessions, group training sessions. We've done walks through scenic routes. We've done loads of stuff. And I really like to do that because obviously there are people within the program who come from all over the country. Because it is online, that's the beauty of doing it. But I really like to get people together in person because there's something really special about bringing like-minded people together and forming that closer relationship. And that's effectively what I do most of the time. I'm also a coach at a group personal training gym. It's actually called Fortitude, based in Lydney in the Forest of Dean. And I have actually been there for, must be 5 years now. It's over 5 years I've actually been there. And I'm still there. I work there a couple of days a week. I'm mainly coach, but I also help with the marketing, with the sales, with kind of managing the team. It's a very small team, so I kind of am very involved in lots of aspects of the business. And I've transitioned from, that being my main job to actually starting Lead from the Front. And then over the past 3 years, inside Lead from the Front, we've helped almost 60 individuals completely transform their life through Lead from the Front. And I've obviously transitioned away from being at Fortitude full-time, and I'm still there part-time. I'm still there a couple of days a week. And frankly, because I really, really enjoy it. I love it there. I've made so many friends there. I get to see so many people. I get to meet so many people. I'm also making sure that my skills as a coach in person and having those people skills around, training, nutrition, and like actually taking them through a coaching session in the gym. I'm always refining those skills and trying to get better and better and better. So I just really enjoy it, which is why I'm still there. It's a really, really enjoyable thing for me. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at now. Outside of that, I live in Chepstow, South Wales. That's where I am now. I'm actually just sat in my dining room. Just on a side note, as this podcast gets better and grows, I am going to get a microphone. So if the audio is a bit bad, I apologise, but imperfect action, I'm just getting going. And I'll be refining things and making sure the setup's better and everything like that to make sure your listening and viewing experience is as best as possible. But I live in Chepstow, South Wales. I recently got engaged to my fiancée Connie, who's actually sat working upstairs as I'm recording this. And Connie, interesting story, is actually one of my clients inside Lead from the Front. And you may be thinking, how the hell are you coaching your fiancée? And that's a very, very good question. And that'll actually be a really good thing for me to go into as a podcast episode in itself. So I will do that at a later point because there are some serious lessons that I've learned the hard way around how to do things right because I've messed it up a lot. So recently got engaged to Connie. We were away in Bali. That was incredible. Back in October, so about 3-4 months ago. I love surfing, I love snowboarding, I love barbecues, I love playing tennis, I love anything active. I just love great crack with friends. I love having a few beers, I love having a few glasses of wine, bringing people together, having a great social experience and just connecting and having deep and meaningful chats and a good laugh with people. That's me kind of in a nutshell. And more background. So I've been in the fitness industry for 10 years now. Okay, since I was 17, so I'm 27 now, I've just turned 27. I've been in the fitness industry for 10 years, which is a very long time because I started at a young age. And within that, I've had a hell of a lot of growth. I've gone from being the gym receptionist to a level 2 gym instructor. I then actually went to university. I went to University of Gloucester and I did a sports strength and conditioning degree. I actually graduated with a first class honours, which was really, really exciting. Really pleased with that and proud of myself for that. And whilst I was at university, that whole degree was around, like my background there was around working with high level athletes, making sure that they are performing at the top level within their sport. And I've worked with Gloucestershire County Cricket Club. I've worked with top national level powerlifters. I've worked with tennis players, rowers, you name it. Okay, I've worked with a lot of people. And whilst I was doing my degree at university, I also did my level 3 personal training qualification. And with that, I think I realized whilst I was doing my degree that yes, I find it really enjoyable working with high level sports people, but I was also working with a few kind of general population clients, people with jobs, people whose sport and training isn't their actual livelihood. And I think I just realized that I get much more fulfillment helping people manage their whole life better than I do getting someone to sprint half a second quicker over, 100 meters or whatever it is, improving a little bit in their sport. I just got a lot more fulfillment around people saying, actually, you've changed my life. My life is very, very different now. That is what it just kind of got me more excited than getting someone a little bit better at their sport. So I actually had a scholarship for Olympic weightlifting at university. So I competed at a national level. I think I was fourth in like the junior category in Britain at one point. Should have been third or second in that competition. I say shoulda, coulda, woulda, too little, too late. But I messed it up. But I had the ability and I was competing at a high level. And what was really interesting about that was, this is actually just going off on a tangent here, the reason I got into Olympic weightlifting was through CrossFit. And the reason I got into CrossFit, I used to play rugby when I was younger. And I've always been a very confident person, okay? But I had an accident when I was playing rugby. I think it was around year 9 or year 10, so I was pretty young. And I smashed my face up. So I caught the ball, I was at fullback, caught the ball in my own 22, beat the whole team. I was literally on the 5 metre line about to score a try, and I was at full tilt, and then someone jumped, tackled me, and I slid on my face for a good few metres at full tilt, and that's why I have the dashing good looks that I have today. Broke my cheek, fractured my nose. I was swollen up for weeks. Wasn't particularly great, but the most important thing is that it really did knock my confidence. So with regards to, I went from being a confident person, thinking I was kind of untouchable. And then when something like that, it really does ground you. And just completely knocked my confidence. And I realized actually rugby isn't for me. I want to do stuff that's in my control, that I can really master. So I was on the hunt for something that was still like strong, where I could still be strong and like masculine and everything like that. And then that's how I found CrossFit, and then I got into Olympic weightlifting. Pardon me. So with Olympic weightlifting, started off, just really enjoyed the weightlifting bits in CrossFit. And then I started competing at a high level, ended up getting a scholarship through uni, competed in that. And the key thing that actually taught me was, I thought if I could lift super heavy weights, people would look up to me. Okay, I was lacking confidence and I needed some way to gain confidence back. And that's how I started doing Olympic weightlifting and why I did it. When I actually got to a point where I was lifting good numbers, I think I was in just under 69 kilo bodyweight category. So I was a fairly small guy, and my best snatch was 97 kilos, just shy of 100. I tried it a few times, messed it up, but that is what it is. And then 120 kilos on the clean and jerk. And at my body weight, that's pretty heavy weights. But when I hit that, I realized the more I'm lifting, like no one actually cares. And like, I realized when I got to that point, I was like, oh, actually, it's not about that. It's actually about the person that I've had to become on the journey of being able to lift those weights. You then go through that whole process, you commit yourself to something, and then you realize, actually, it's not even the outcome like that is the important thing. It's actually the process you've gone through to become someone who backs themselves to succeed, who's confident, who trusts themselves to show up daily. I was training 5 days a week, 2 hours, 2.5 hours at a time, lots of sitting down, mind you. That's just what a weightlifter does. But doing that, and I did that for 4 years straight. And I realized that actually it was the person that I became that was the most valuable thing. So that's just a little bit of background there. And then obviously I started my own personal training business. So I actually did a few home visits, did a few one-to-ones with a couple of people I know, where I take the kit to their house, do a one-to-one session and things like that. And then I also was doing one-to-ones in the gym and stuff. Had a kind of a little bit going on. Then I went traveling. So I finished university, graduated with my first class degree, and then I went traveling with Connie, who obviously is now my fiance. And when we were traveling, so we had the most incredible trip. It was just over 4 months, and we started off in Denver, Colorado. We got a camper. It was the coolest camper ever. It was like covered in blue and like turquoise paint. It was absolutely incredible. And we drove all the way from Colorado through the Rockies, down through Utah, through the Grand Canyon, through Joshua Tree National Park, the desert in the south of California, all the way down to San Diego. And then we drove all the way up from San Diego, literally all the way up the coast through LA, San Francisco, Yosemite, Oregon, Washington, Seattle, and then got all the way up to, I don't know why my laptop's making that noise. But anyway, carrying on. All the way up to Vancouver and Vancouver Island, spent some time in Canada, where we were in Canada for 2.5 weeks, travelled around there. Then we flew to New Zealand, and we were in New Zealand for 3.5 weeks, went all over the North and South Island, went snowboarding, was absolutely epic. And then we finished off in Australia. So we went from Melbourne to Adelaide on the Great Ocean Road, all the way up through Uluru and Ayers Rock in the middle, up to Darwin, saw some crocs, and then went over to Sydney, and then went all the way from Sydney up the east coast up to Cairns, where we then came home. And that was an amazing trip. I just needed it because I went straight from school, A-levels, university. I had no break. I was fed up with education and I just needed a break. So that was an amazing trip, and it was really, really interesting because the first 2 months, I was literally one of the highlights of my day was obviously driving around, spending time with Connie, but lighting a fire in the evening and just cracking open a cold beer for the first 2 months. That was literally the highlight of my day. I just needed to relax. I felt like I deserved it, and I just didn't want to think about anything else. And then literally bang on halfway, 2 months in, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do with my life? And it was at that point I literally changed, and the highlight of my day became getting up in the morning, going and getting a nice coffee, going for a walk and thinking, what the hell am I going to do with my life when I get home? And it was literally overnight that it changed. It was quite comical and funny looking back at it now, but it just got the juices flowing. I started thinking about what I was going to do, and I decided I wanted to carry on with my personal training business. And then when I came back, I started working at Fortitude, which I'm actually still there now, and that has grown as a business massively, as well as I have as a person and coach. And then I started my personal training business as well, continued that. I only had like a couple of clients, and I just saw them probably once a week. So it was very, very small scale. And I was also at the time working part-time in the Coventry Building Society, which is like a bank, and we did savings accounts. So I was actually working in the financial sector as well. And I remember I was down in Cornwall having an amazing holiday with my mates, and I just had an epiphany. And I thought, why am I working in a second job that I do not like, that is not leading me to where I want to go? The people were lovely, I loved the people, but the job just was not tickling my fancy. It wasn't what I wanted to do long term. And I thought, why am I doing a second job there when I could actually start my own online coaching business that I really enjoy and build something for myself? And it was at that moment that I then started doing it. And when I first started doing it, so I've been online coaching now for 5 years. I think 5 years or 5.5 years, a long time basically. And it started off with just training and nutrition, okay, as a lot of online coaches did. And I really enjoyed it. It was only small scale. I probably got up to like 5 clients at the time. And I really enjoyed it, but it was just training and nutrition focused. And then bam, lockdown hit, okay, 2020, and things changed here because there was a big transition. Like obviously lockdown was a very strange time for everyone. You watching this as well, I'm sure you will agree. With that, what I realized was everyone was so used to living their daily lives kind of on autopilot, like as it was. Like you go to work, you're used to traveling, and it completely shook everything up. And what I realized was that people's autonomy was taken away from them massively. And people, myself included, did not have the personal leadership and personal management skills and thinking to be able to thrive being self-directed. Okay, and that's what I really realized. So I saw a massive opportunity here. And I remember the moment I actually recorded a video, and I remember posting it into the group of the gym, and I got a massive response from it, and they were like, oh my God, that is so useful, training our thinking as well as our bodies. And it was comments like that, and I just had a light bulb moment, and I thought, right, if I can seed in more personal leadership and personal management into my training and nutrition coaching, that is going to give people completely life-changing results. And that's what I did. I absolutely went hard on it, focused on it, and it was just a really amazing time because I was growing so much. I started planning my days more, started self-reflecting like really frequently, made a lot of mistakes, but had massive lessons, massive growth during that time. And it was also during that time that I invested in my first kind of business mentor as well, who helped me massively. So where was I? So I just started to blend personal leadership and personal management into my training and nutrition coaching. So it started to look at helping people, manage their lives as well as their training. So it all kind of took in the big picture, and the results just started getting way better. Okay, they were more consistent, people were enjoying it more. No matter what challenges people had, if people were injured, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I can't do the plan anymore because I'm injured. It was, I'm injured, but actually here's what I'm going to focus on now. And it was this incredible shift where you just, whatever your circumstances, you can make progress no matter what. If you decide that that's what you want to do, if you have the work ethic, if you have the drive, it is 100% possible for you to carry on making progress. Okay, you've got to operate from a vision, not circumstance. Okay, that means operate from where you want to be, operate and act, make decisions based off the person that you want to be, rather than the person that you are right now and the circumstance you're in. Okay, that's a really, really important lesson. And that's what I started to do. But with that, here was one of the key lessons that actually led me on to creating Lead from the Front. Was I worked so hard, I was getting so excited by it, I completely put myself last. I remember I was probably training like twice a week just to say I'd done it. I wasn't eating well. I was working from literally 7 a.m. in the corner of my room until 8, 9 o'clock at night because I was so focused on doing this and learning. And I remember doing these training sessions for myself that were like 6-minute EMOMs, which means every minute on the minute. And I was doing it for 6 minutes, but just to say I had like trained, but I was literally doing the bare minimum. And naturally with this, I completely burnt myself out. And I mean completely. For about a month straight, I remember having a new client sign up. Usually that's a time where it's super exciting. You're about to start this journey with an individual, help them change their life. And I was absolutely anxious. I remember sitting down and actually chatting to Connie. I was like, I do not know what is wrong with me. I felt like my brain was completely foggy. I felt exhausted. I found it hard to get out of bed. I literally was lying on the sofa oh my God. And I just couldn't even think about showing up for clients or social media or anything like that. I literally just had to do the bare minimum, focus on myself, focus on resting. And it was at that point I knew there must be a better way to operate. I knew that there must be a better way to look after myself. How can I still make progress within my business? How can I still show up as a role model to clients whilst looking after myself? I felt inauthentic at the time because I wasn't doing what I would expect of clients, and that really didn't sit well with me. So that's when I needed to change. And I realized that, I started having to really focus on resting more, okay? Not working myself to the bone, not actually still including fun things within my life, still including hobbies, training properly, back when I first started training, that excitement. And with that, I realized actually I could work a bit less, but I was much more potent and I was much more impactful with what I was doing. And it was at that point, 3 years ago, I was looking after myself, I was feeling on top of things, and I had this idea of, I want to start my own proper business. It was kind of a little bit of a side hustle at the time. It wasn't very expensive to work with me. And I was like, you know what, I really enjoy this. And if I've gone through this much growth and kind of pain as well, I was like, it's my duty that I need to share that with other people. So Lead from the Front was born, which was a very exciting time. And I remember actually my friend, Alex, his name was, he was my first client within Lead from the Front. And he was the person, he signed up with me. And he was like, mate, I just love all your stuff. And I was chatting to him, and he was part of a business mentorship that I'm now a part of, and I have been for over 3 years. And he was a part of it, and he started, we would just chat a lot and then brainstorm ideas. And he was the one who really helped me put myself out there and go for it. And I started Lead from the Front. And initially, it was actually for other health and fitness professionals. So I literally took my journey, my experience, and marketed it to other coaches, gym owners, personal trainers specifically. You had to work within the fitness industry in some way. And so that's what I did. I started that. It was really, really enjoyable at the start. And because I knew the lessons that I had, I needed to be authentic and show up for myself in order to show up for my clients. And I started sharing that with other people. And I did that. So I joined my current business mentorship, Phil Graham, his name is, who runs Fitness Entrepreneur. And that's an incredible life-changing program. That has changed my life in more ways than you can imagine. But I'll save that for another day. But joined that, and for about 7 months, I absolutely grafted. I just bought this house with Connie. It was a bit of a crack den. Okay, at the start, it was a full renovation, like proper gutting. Like I remember being sat at this table just there where the kitchen now is, and there was open floorboards, and I remember sitting eating, and wood lice had fallen from the ceiling onto my plate. Okay, it was not a pleasant experience, but I didn't have the self-awareness to realize, because I was young at the time, I was 23 at the time, and I didn't have the self-awareness to realize the negative impact that my environment was having on me. So again, more lessons and wisdom ensued. Pardon me. So started doing it, and for 7 months I marketed it just for other health and fitness coaches. And the growth I was experiencing was amazing. The level and depth of results that my clients were getting were fantastic. Okay, absolutely phenomenal. But I realized I was getting a lot of messages, and I was getting a lot of comments and support from people who aren't health and fitness coaches. And I realized after 6 months of not getting the results that I wanted with regards to like business growth and actually a scale of impact, I only had 2 clients sign up with me within that 6 month period. Actually, I had to lie, 3 clients sign up with me within that 6 month period. That is not very many when you're trying to run a business off of that. And I kept working, burnt myself out again. Okay, you would think I would learn the lesson, but I burnt myself out again. And I took the whole of, I think it was July, I had like 2.5 weeks of holiday. I had a family holiday. I was in Liverpool for like a wedding. And then I had another holiday in Cornwall, I think. Burnt myself out. And at that point, whilst I had that space, I was like, I just can't show up for that anymore. But I was pleased, I gave it a really good go. I chatted to a few of the really amazing performers within the mastermind that I was in, and they offered me some great advice. And I basically realized I was shutting myself off from helping more people because they didn't fit into fitness coach. Okay, so I opened up Lead from the Front in August, June, July, August, yes, in August 2021. Opened it up, and then from then, Lead from the Front has just kind of skyrocketed to the point where we've had over 50 people throughout the program over the past few years. Almost 60 now, actually, which is incredible, okay? And it was at that point, life started to get really, really good. I mean, it was good anyway, but like I was managing myself better, and I was now getting the results with clients that I really wanted to, the scale of impact, like I was helping more people. And that is basically what led me to, and then over the past 3 years, we've gone from just me with, 5 to 10 clients to we've had up to 28 clients. We now have Jack, who is a client success coach who helps me, Jack was my 3rd ever client in Lead from the Front. And he joined me back when it was just for fitness coaches. He's been within the program this whole time. He's completely transformed his life, his way of being, his way of thinking. He's now running his own online business that is, doing really well. He's doing really well, and he now helps me and is part of the coaching team that helps me deliver incredible life-changing results with clients. So that is where we are today. I'm going to stop the episode there because that's a lot of waffle, but that just hopefully gives you some background into who I am, how did I get into doing what I'm doing, and I'm really excited to go into the next episode, because in the next episode I'm going to be talking about what does it mean to lead from the front? Like why is it called that? What does it mean, and what do I stand for? What is my ethos with regards to how do I do things differently to other health and fitness coaches? And that's what I'm really excited to go into in the next episode. So guys, if you made it this far, I'm really, really grateful for you to do that. I would love for you to, drop I've never done this before, so please bear with me. Is it subscribe to the podcast? Maybe like it? I don't even know. Whatever you need to do for a podcast, please do it if you found it valuable. Next episode, we're going to go into what it means to lead from the front. What's my coaching ethos? How do I think? And some of the key things there. And then after that, we're going to get into the good stuff and the hopefully really valuable content and tips and tools and strategies and wisdom that I can share with you so that you can build a body that you're proud of, live life on your terms, build a character and mindset that is absolutely unstoppable. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into the first episode. Hopefully I haven't waffled too much, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found that useful, and I'm looking forward to catching you in the next episode.